What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Neighborhood Podcast. One of the hosts of the podcast. My name is Kyle Dabra.
What's going on, everybody? The other half of the podcast, Kevin Valentin. Kyle, what we got going on right now?
We're going to talk about the slate of NBA Christmas games that were just released a couple days ago. So, before the NBA drops the full schedule release for the regular season for all NBA teams, typically they will release the slate of games that we will see on Christmas Day. There are 5 games, like always, and I'm going to knock them out here one by one. So the first game that we have is the Atlanta Hawks versus the New York Knicks. After that, we got the Boston Celtics versus the Milwaukee Bucks. After that, we got the Golden State Warriors going up against the Phoenix Suns. We got Brooklyn going up against the Lakers. And then the Christmas Day games will round out with the Dallas Mavericks going up against the Utah Jazz. So, Kevin, we've got an amazing slate of games here. Like always, this may be one of the best lineups of Christmas Day games that we've seen in recent memory. What's the one game in particular that you're going to be really paying attention to on Christmas Day?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a difficult choice to pick from, considering each and every one of these games just has matchups throughout the entire set. I mean, the game for me, if I had to pick one, which is kind of silly for me, would have to be the finals matchup we should have had last season, which is the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, you have a fully reloaded veteran Lakers team with Russell Westbrook, AD, and LeBron versus Kyrie, James Harden, and KD. I mean, it's prime time. It's literally a matchup for the ages. I mean, you got LeBron James versus Kevin Durant. You got Kyrie versus Russell, and then obviously like AD not versus Harden necessarily matchup wise, but I mean just overall, it's a matchup for the evening because it's definitely going to be one of those games you have circled on your calendar. Thankfully, it's on Christmas, so it's going to be an incredible one. But if I had to pick a game outside of that one, I'm definitely going to go with the Warriors and the Suns, the defending Western Conference champions, versus the resurgent Golden State Warriors, only because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson versus Chris Paul and Devin Booker. I mean, two sets of guards that are absolutely phenomenal at what it is that they do. Chris Paul, known as the point guard, great facilitator, great mid range shooter. Devin Booker, one of the more elite guards coming up in this league. The shooting stroke and greatest shooting pair tandem between Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are coming back fully loaded and fully healthy. I mean, if I'm being honest, I want to see Klay and Devin go at it bucket for bucket. I want to see Chris Paul and Steph Curry go back and forth because of their history that they've played against one another in the conference finals a few times. When Chris was in Houston, and then obviously the divisional rounds when Chris was in LA, and the Warriors for the most part won a lot of those series. But nevertheless, I mean, I look forward to each and every game that's on that slate. I mean, if I had to pick one that's probably my least favorite, it would probably be the Celtics and Bucks. But I mean, even that has a good round out in terms of matchups. Jason Tatum and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then obviously Chris Middleton and Jaylen Brown. So I mean, if you really look at it, the X factor is going to be the goat that is Dennis Schroeder uh, against probably what Brian Forbes, whatever his name is going to kind of be funny. Or
Or
maybe he goes up against Drew Holiday, one of the better perimeter defenders in the league. I don't know. I am excited to see Trae Young rematch against the New York Knicks, knowing how that series ended up in the postseason. And then, of course, to round it out, last but not least, the Mavericks against the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell versus Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis versus Rudy Gobert. I mean, overall, I think the Jazz have a very good and very well-rounded assembled team. It's just a matter of can the Mavs do what they need to do and fight off a very good and competitive former number one overall seeded Utah Jazz. But Christmas for sure has not looked this good since we were in high school.
the games look outstanding. And I mean, to kind of pick one game out of the 5, it's kind of a tricky situation here. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to pick the Nets or the Lakers. That's a great one. I'm looking at this Warriors Suns game because the way that I look at it is like this. Golden State has been one of the most dominant teams in recent memory. Just the stretch that they went on from 2014 to 2018 was something to behold, and they were by far the top dog in the Western Conference. And they're going up against a team in the Phoenix Suns who, by and large, outside of Chris Paul, are relatively young and they're on their come up. I don't know if they're going to go on the run that Golden State went on by winning 3 titles in 5 years. I don't think that's going to happen. But still, what the Suns have in the roster that they have and the coach that leads them with Monty Williams, that is going to be an outstanding matchup. It's kind of almost kind of like an old guard going up against the new guard. Are we going to kind of see just a change of the guard in that sense with that matchup? I think that's going to be the one in particular for me that I'm going to be really paying attention to. I know it's the 5 o'clock game. That's typically when everybody's usually getting ready for dinner or they're just kind of relaxing at home. But I'm going to be watching that game. That's going to be a fantastic game. And that's not a slight against the other 4 games that we have on Christmas Day. I mean, the Nets and the Lakers, that could potentially be the finals matchup of this year, potentially. So that is going to be a very fun game to watch. You know, LeBron going up against KD. You have Anthony Davis going up against James Harden, Kyrie Irving. You got Carmelo in the mix with the Lakers. You got Russell Westbrook. I mean, it is literally a superstar studded game, and that game is going to provide fireworks in my mind. You know, Boston versus Milwaukee. I think that has the potential to be a major scoring fest if defense really isn't a factor. You know, Giannis can put up 40 points at will. Jason Tatum can drop a 50-point bomb every now and then. And it's going to depend on whether or not, you know, you see these role players step up like Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday with the Bucks. Also with Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart for the Celtics. I think that game is going to be very good to watch as well. I think the Hawks in the Knicks game, I think might actually be, to my surprise, the weakest one here. Simply just because, I'm going to be honest with you, Atlanta kind of smoked the Knicks in the playoffs when it mattered the most just a couple months ago. So, you know, maybe the Knicks can turn it around here and maybe make something of it against the Hawks in this Christmas Day matchup. But just what Atlanta was able to do to the Knicks last year, I just think that Atlanta has the edge over them. And I think that could kind of be the case going into this Christmas Day game. But it is at the Garden. I know the Garden's going to be very loud when Atlanta gets back in. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of Trae Young chants when the Knicks fans are going off. I fully expect that. And then the Dallas Mavericks versus the Utah Jazz game, you know, it's going to be a good game because Luka Doncic, I think, is going to be on an absolute tear this year. Wouldn't surprise me if he's in the running for the MVP next year. And then you pair that with just the Utah Jazz, who the Utah Jazz are a very well-rounded team. You've got Mike Conley coming back. You've got Donovan Mitchell, who is one of the best and up-and-coming superstars that this league has to offer. You got Rudy Gobert down low. He won Defensive Player of the Year. It was a huge force for France in the Olympics not too long ago. I mean, the Utah Jazz are a solid team. They're a great team. But, you know, it's whether or not they get it done in the playoffs. It's kind of another story. But the matchup that they have against the Dallas Mavericks on Christmas Day, it's going to be something to behold for sure. Like, all of these games are going to be fantastic. And I know I'm probably not going to speak for myself here, but it's like, I really do look forward to seeing these games take place on Christmas Day. They're going to be very fun to watch.
Oh, no, 100%. I'm super excited overall for the NBA lineup. I mean, like I said, high school, I mean, we had the Lakers going up against like the Nuggets. We had like the Heat going up against the Knicks. And at the time, some of these teams were the best teams in the NBA. So, I mean, like, again, for whatever reason, I can't remember Christmas lineups. But, you know, I just remember that famous Christmas commercial where some of the NBA players were shooting threes to make that Christmas jingle. It was like Steve Nash, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and James Harden, like making that Christmas was absolutely incredible. And I mean, like, I'm just thinking those are the vibes I'm getting right now from these matchups, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, the NBA is so far out. I wouldn't say so far. I mean, the league doesn't it kick off in October?
Season's going to start in about 2 months, 2.5 months. So
it's not that bad.
It's going to get here quick. But I do have to ask, who do you think is going to have the best uniform?
Know what route they're going with for Christmas uniforms, so I can't necessarily predict. I don't know if they're going to do statement jerseys. I don't know if they're going to do Christmas jerseys. Like I have no idea.
I tell you
The
what,
surest shit isn't going to be the Mavs.
I think Boston might have a good one just because I like. I mean, it depends on what kind of colorway they go with because Milwaukee could have like a white color since they're the home team, and then Boston could maybe like potentially do like a black and then kind of mix in some green. I just kind of like that colorway. I've just always kind of liked that black and green combo. I think Golden State's gonna have a good one as well.
I was going
And
to say Golden State and maybe Phoenix just because of the color scheme.
and then I think the Lakers and the Nets. I think those are gonna be pretty. They're gonna be pretty simple, but
Black, gold.
yeah. So I mean, but who knows? Maybe the Knicks could pull something off too. The Knicks could pull off a
Yeah,
decent
we'll
uniform
see what
too.
happens. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm not rushing Christmas by any means. Lord knows I'm not trying to skip the next 4 months like this, but you know, when back to school comes, everybody's just like, "Oh, it's like 100 and some odd days till Christmas," and you're just like, "Yo, dude, slow your roll."
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's August right now, and I'm already seeing pumpkin spice options at Publix already.
I
It's
can't.
August. I mean,
I
when
can't.
it's October, it's gonna be peppermint.
Thanksgiving
It's gonna be peppermint flavored, whatever that you're gonna
at
find on the
Starbucks.
shelves.
Yep.
Yep, you already know. But these games should be fun, and I imagine Kevin and I are gonna be glued to our TVs watching these games take place. They will be a lot of fun to watch.
I'll be watching it on my phone because spend Christmas with the wife. I know she doesn't like to watch a lot of basketball on Christmas because it's family time, and I respect it. But she's got to understand my family time on Christmas is watching basketball. So we'll have to find a compromise. I
Just
love you, babe, but
just
gotta compromise.
screen mirror it so that way you get it on the TV if it's a smart TV.
If it's our parents' house, no, because they're probably watching something themselves.
Hey, these Christmas Day games they take priority, my guy.
In my opinion, I'll probably be home by the Mavs game, which in turn means I'll probably be asleep. So if I can find a way to get the Nets Lakers game on my phone, I'll be fine.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But with that said, you guys, that'll wrap it up from here. If you guys like the video, like the video below. If you guys want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, hit that subscribe button below. Any sort of support that we can get for the channel, Kevin and I definitely appreciate it. Kevin, is there anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, man, it is Thursday, wrapping up early into Friday. Let's just have a great weekend, and Kyle and I will come back ready and locked and loaded for Monday morning.
Yes, sir. So thank you guys for tuning once again, and we will see you guys later.